Hi, good morning, Young and Sane fam. Welcome to another episode of the Young and Sane Podcast. I'm so glad to have you here this morning, and we're just going to get into what we have today. So, last week I shared my secondary school experiences that kind of impacted my adulthood so far. So this week I have a few of my classmates from secondary school I attended Lagos International Secondary School at our Mama Owerri. So we're going to be sharing some peculiar experiences they had in lodges and how it impacted their adult life and even what they learned from school and how they felt about it. We're just going to go into some details, right? And they're going to be sharing experiences and talking and all that. So I hope you enjoy this week's episode of the Young and Sane Podcast. Welcome. I'm your host, Tamarflourish, and I'm so glad to have you on board. I hope you stick to the end and So this episode and even last week's episode was for the purpose of emphasizing the fact that the environment we grew in during our teenage years and even childhood years, our formative ages, they kind of shaped us, right? Since we experienced what we saw, how we felt, they kind of shaped our beliefs and our value systems, and so they have, each of those experiences have impact in our adulthood and as young people and even in our sanity, right? So I hope you stick to this and listen and try to get one or two things. So I'm going to be having Ella Okoro on board. I'm going to also be having Charles ThankGod. I'm going to be having VickyBillions and also Adanaya. So Ella Okoro is a content creator, marketer, and all of those stuff. So she's going to introduce herself and we're going to know her better. We also have Charles ThankGod, an artist, a designer. So he's going to introduce himself and we'll know him better. We're going to have VickyBillions, a telecommunications sales expert, and she's going to introduce herself and we're going to know her better. We also have Adanaya, who is currently serving in NYSC, right? And she's serving her father's land. So we're going to get to know her, and so let's get right into it.
So, welcome, VickyBillions, welcome, Ella, welcome, Sir Charles. I will not stop calling you Sir Charles because that's what I want. Right? Alright.
Sir Charles Jr.
You guys have to introduce yourself, your name, if you have any name, what you do. Just read out your portfolio for us so that we can know you better. So, starting with Sir Charles, the first thing.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marvelous, for having me in this place. It's a privilege, though. So, my name is Charles ThankGod Nnamdi. I'm an indigenous of Enugu State. So, I best describe myself as an appreciator of arts, one who is expressional with arts, in the sense that anytime I find myself, any kind of art I lay my hands on, I use it to express myself. So basically, that's what I am, an artist. But then when it comes to earning a living, I pin on fashion designing, which is also a kind of art, and then photography, which is also a kind of art. These are the two major things I pin on to earn a living. So I am an appreciator of art, someone who is expressional with us, and then I'm skilled in fashion and photography. That's what I use to earn a living, man. That's just a rundown of who I am.
Fully now. Appreciator of art, God and VickyBillions. That's so nice. Welcome, sir. Fashion design.
Thank you.
On the male senators, I hope you will not be opposed to making that for me.
Why not? You want to make a senator suit for yourself?
That's what I'm trying to do.
You won't look like man.
This is one of my first welcome. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to this. Thank you very much. So let's move over to Ella. Introduce yourself, your name, and then what you do.
Okay. My name is Ella Okoro. I am a direct response copywriter and marketer. I'm just basically a marketer. That's what I do. That's what I'm into now. I also trade the financial market, but for now you can just know me as a direct response marketer and copywriter. Yes. I don't have a long portfolio like my Oga here. So this is just
You
what
don't
I
do
used to
this,
put
guys.
food on my table. Okay. That's just me.
Only you. Directly from marketer.
Only me, huh? I just smart and they put food for my table. I'm not be like my boss.
So just you guys. You are big. I'm so glad to have you on this platform. Really. So let's move over to Vicky. VickyBillions, please introduce yourself to us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Marvia, for this opportunity. I really appreciate. So, I'm Omuka Victory. I'm a student of computer science engineering. I'm also into communication, which is something I do. I have fun while doing it. Coach people also who like to learn. So basically, that's just it. That's what I do.
Select Communication. Welcome. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation to be here. I'm so glad.
You're welcome.
Alright. So wow, that was a very, I don't know how to even say it. Me, I'm still coming up. I'm not all these 20 people are saying these people are. So I'm still coming up, Sha. But I'm so glad that I can talk to you people.
Just the one yourself. Just the one yourself, man.
Like, do you understand? Do you know how much Mike is in the market to own podcast? What do you mean you're still coming up?
Alright, thank you very much for that. So basically, I don't know what I'm going to title this podcast, but I know that you just want to go down memory lane. I want to go down memory lane with you guys and just know what it was like for you in secondary school, and then how everything went through in secondary school is impacting your adult life now, because you're adults, right? And even though sometimes I was looking at myself, see now me be this, see now me don't go like this. But yes, they're all adults. So I just want to know what was that particular memory that you had, or maybe some specific experiences or memories that you had in knowledge that were probably very significant for you, that is like impacting your life right now? Or if it's not one particular memory, what were the memories, or what exactly were the experiences, probably one or two or a lot of them, that is actually informing how you're living right now as an adult? So we'll start from Mama Vicky Billions, telecommunication mama. You have the floor.
Why do I have to go first? Okay. That one, would I say memory? I had so much memories, but I'll say that one experience that really shaped me and is really helping me right now is that I don't know whether it's just me, but I'll just say discipline. I know it has to be both sides because someone we have to want to be disciplined before you can even discipline somebody. Not everybody wants to be disciplined. Yeah, so you have to want it then before you can be. So I'll just say discipline because I know that the right I had admirers or I don't even know what to call it. I think I wanted to get married, I don't know. So I know that those thoughts were there, but I didn't give in. Not like, oh, I wasn't free or something like that, but I didn't give in, and it's something very beautiful now for me because you see people say, this person was with this person was with the other person, but I can't even relate because I was just on my own doing my own thing. So it's something very beautiful for me because then I used to say, this thing is just within the four corners of this school, and when you leave school, it will end. This was what I always say. But then people were like, you lie, I love you, and all this kind of stuff. Or even people that were loving, I even married them, and they are doing best. Very funny actually. So I'll just say that discipline, it really helped me. And then when it comes to the aspect of education, you have to study for yourself. You have to write exams on your own. It really helped me because even though I didn't make my WAEC in one sitting, and I had to write like 2 or 3 times even, the last time I wrote was GCE, and for GCE it's kind of very crazy because you have all these old people coming to come and make up for their exams and they are willing to pay any amount. So you that is not even paying, you're limited. They might take your book. It's not like a school where you can't report or anything. It's just all you're on your own. So I didn't pay for any of my exams and it was still tasking for me because I don't even know where I want to read. Like that zeal of even reading has gone. I didn't know what to read. I was just tired of it. I was just doing it because I was forced actually to do it. I wanted to merge results, but I was forced to do it, so I was just doing it. So, but I was still confident in myself that I'm not used to this copying thing. I can't. No matter how tough it is, I want to write by myself. I want to see how I'll perform by my own self. And I really performed. I was proud of myself after the exams. I didn't have to pay for any paper. So that discipline was it's still there to date, that you're confident about your exams, you're confident that you can write for yourself and you still pass, you still do well. So I think these are the major things that the school actually helped me to achieve. Then on the other hand, they actually killed my self-confidence. Yes, because when I left Lodges and I had to rewrite my exams, it was a new school I went to. And the school, I remember for the first day we had break, I could not eat in front of boys. I had to run outside with my lunch to go and eat. And people were like, what's wrong with this one? Is she okay? I was very shy or ashamed to eat it. Like I did not even my teaching was never a guy because I could not. So that was because they built a wall of what Jericho what around us. You stay here, you stay here. I don't know what was our offense. So it was very hard for me. I could not speak in public, just timid and shy. Not like anything is wrong with me. Something of that nature. But then I know over the time I had to break those walls and become better. But anyways, I'm still grateful for the experience and everything. So that's it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. That was a lot. Mm. Wow, it's very funny how the very things that we complained of in secondary school can actually, help us somewhere else, even though it seems like very, very tough while we are facing it at the moment. In the present, it's as if, this is so bad, but if you just calm down and look at the positive side, we could actually take something positive from it when we get to another, field of life or just something. So thank you for that. I think that's what I got from what you said. So moving over to Ella, you work as a direct response copywriter, digital marketing, right? So how
Yeah.
how are you like growing in this field based on your experiences from yours? Like, what can you say that maybe you learned from secondary school logic that is helping you as you navigate your career path in this?
Okay, so Logis did a lot for me. When it comes to, I feel like what I'm doing now, I can look back and say, oh, I got it from Logis. The first thing is good work ethic. Yeah, you know how it was a necessity for you to study. You can't come to school and not put in the work. You had to put in the work. And when I came into this industry, what I do, copywriting, is that one industry where you have to just put in the work. You have to practice. You have to, put in hours practicing, And Logis did not give us any easy way out. It was one way, like there was no way through, like around it. You had to like go through it. So when I came into like this industry, direct response copywriting marketing, I saw, people were complaining, and I was like, what is it that people are complaining about? Just to put in 2 to 3 hours every day sitting down studying was a problem for people, but it wasn't for me because I feel like I built it back in school. Well, in fact, I have been a reader even before I came into Logis, but I feel like Logis did it for me, because if I had gone to another school where, they help people out doing exams, you could just pay a teacher off, maybe that reading culture would have left me. But I think Logis really amplified that for me. I can really sit down, like, and work, like 2, 3 hours, 4 hours, I'm sitting down. Some days I sit down on my desk, like, the whole day. And, some people will be like, don't you have fun? Don't you go out? Man, I have fun with what I'm doing. Like, I don't really have a problem. So, yeah, I think good work ethic was it for me. Another one is resilience. Logis really, really taught me how to be resilient, Logis really taught me how to be resilient. You can bend, you're permitted to bend, but I never really got to that point where you can say I broke. Okay, so yeah, I think these two things, good work ethic, resilience. You can talk about mental strength too. That thing that always pushes you, because I was in science, but how many years down the line, I think I was talking to ThankGod the other day, and I was like, man, I was supposed to be an art student. Like, back in school, everyone was telling me, girl, what you doing in science, and I struggled too. I struggled with my a lot of subjects in science. I struggled with maths. Oh my goodness. I struggled with maths. I struggled with physics. I struggled with chemistry. The things I did not really struggle with were things that did not have calculations in it. But then somehow, there was just this thing in me that was like, no giving up, struggle, no struggle. You're not going anywhere, so that mental strength to stay, to fight, to work for it. yeah, these are the things I can say that I got from Logis that is really helping me with what I am doing and even moving forward. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Wow. Man, that's great. Incredible things I'm hearing. Well, anytime I think of Logis, I think the first thing that comes to mind is how Logis traumatized me.
I mean, the thing is, I feel like Logis traumatized all of us, to be very honest. Logis really did traumatize all of us, But the thing is, there are good sides and there are bad sides to it too. Okay, but yeah.
So having this conversation with you guys just making me see more deeply like all the good things that Logis actually cultivated in us. And that's profound. Yeah, for you guys to be able to name it, that's wonderful. Yeah, so I thank God. As an Oga in the art world, love to appreciate art, love to do this and love to do that. You make creators good and all that. So how has Logis, like what you learned from Logis, probably your experiences or memories or just whatever, what particular things, as Vicky mentioned and Ella, how has being a Logis student or an ex-Logis student impacted or your career as a student now?
Basically, I can pick points. I missed so many experiences. I can pick points just 4 that I'm willing to share. One on the humorous side, one on the negative side, and then maybe 2 on the positive side. So I remember back then in JSS1, I went for night prep, and then towards the end of the night prep, the eastern breeze came and I slept off, and my classmates forgot me. Well, they forgot me, and then they went for night devotion, and then went to bed, and I was in the class alone. Like, how big that admin block is, the boys admin block. I was there alone, and I woke up by I think 1 o'clock, and everything was like, I know back then in Logis, stories about ghosts, stories about Madame Koi Koi, all these fearful stories that flooded us back then. So basically, I was seeing things that night. The staircase became too long because I was trying to climb down step by step. It became too long. I was afraid. But when I managed to come down, I ran for my life. Even the palm tree that was in the boys' track kind of started looking like a human being. Everything just scattered for me that night. And when I ran to hostel, I met the hostel master and he punished me, thinking that I was doing some mischievous things in school. So I think that was an experience done. I think it's on a humorous side. Then on the negative side, I think back then in school, they brought us together in a compound and then had to separate the boys from the girls. I think I'm still suspecting that that's one of the things that has affected my social life till today. Like basically, I'm kind of very much introverted. If you get to see me on a personal note right now, I'm kind of becoming very much introverted, unusually introverted. Sometimes I suspect that maybe it's because of the personality I've come to be and the kind of, like I will always mention art. I know sometimes artists struggle with, moods just to drive inspiration over what they want to do, the concept they want to create. But I don't think that's the major thing that has contributed to my being introvert, because I know that there are many artists out there. There are many people that are also expressional out there who are also social, very much social. There are even many introverts out there that are very social. They can come out in a space and connect with people. But I find it that difficult, especially when it has to do with the opposite sex. And I think it's because of the separation, that we had back then. They had to separate us from the girls and made us feel like there's something very fragile about this gender that we don't have to tamper with. And so it gave us a kind of a kind of picture that women should not be slightly tampered with, that they can destroy your destiny, they can change you for good, for bad, that'd be like fear woman. So I was literally afraid of women, and even today I find it difficult. I find my way around women very hard. I don't really communicate well with them. So I think that's on the negative part. But on the positive side, I think Logis, the opportunity I got, the chance I got to explore the world of art, even as a science student, also it's an experience that I will not forget. Back then, I was a science student, I think, because back then science students were considered to be the serious ones. So I just came in, and my friends joined science. I didn't look deep inside me and nobody really mentored me on follow your passion, follow your talents, all those stuff. So I went into the science class. But then Logis has this way of not allowing you to explore anything you want to explore from any end. So though I was a science student, I was exploring the world of art. I was exploring, with the art students. I was helping them with some of their visual arts assignments back then, and they were doing well. And then thanks to Sanya, when I approached him, I think in my SS3, to indicate my interest in art, he literally mentored me on flat wood carving. So, and from there I started exploring art, and I fell in love with art. So I think that this is one of the things that has actually affected my career even till today. That because Logis gave me the opportunity not to streamline myself, even as a science student, they told me you can explore the world of art. And the art teachers didn't bottle me up. When I approached them and told them, sir, I have interest in art, can you help me? Can you help me find my way around art? They indicated interest and they really helped me. And that made me to kind of fall in love with art. And then even when I eventually enrolled into the university to study computer science, I still had this thing for art, and it kept dragging me till I found myself finally having a diploma in fashion designing and then an experience in photography. And then now I can now sit down to practice all form of traditional arts, from digital art to painting to flat wood carving and all that. So I say kudos to Logis, kudos to the secondary school experience for giving me the opportunity to explore the world of arts. So that's an experience. And then the final experience, which I think is the most imperative for me, the most important for me, is, back then religion was a thing for us back then. I'm not a fan of like the religious and I think one might argue correctly that some of them went on the extreme, in the course of introducing us to what religion is all about. Some went on the extreme, but I don't think that's the mind of the visionaries in the school. It's just individual differences, and when you bring an extremist to a system, the person will try to corrupt the system with his extremism. But then, on a general note, introducing me to Christianity means a lot to me. Back then, before I entered Logis, I was not born again, and I was a bad boy. Like you would scale me and then you call me. But in fact, that was even one of the reasons why my parents had to send me to. I'm the only guy that went to the boarding school in my family, because I was unusually stubborn back then. So they had to send me to the secondary school. And then when I went there, I found people that were serious with God. Someone like Pastor Peters and all those, and Sine Ebenezer, and their messages got to me. And eventually I got born again. And since then, I can't tag my life as perfect, but that single experience has always defined how good I've gone in life. Like, it's kind of an experience that I'll never forget. Getting to know God, getting that God consciousness, it has always stuck to me. And if there is a reason why I've been as good as I am to this point, I think that experience has a lot to do with it. So these are the 4 basic experiences that I can relate to back then in secondary school. Though there are many of them, we can chat and gist about many. I can even write a whole book on the experiences I met
Whoa.
in all these ones. These 4 experiences, I won't forget them though. So 4. Thank you very much, ma.
Wow. Wow. So profound. Thank you so much. You guys are, I don't know, but wow. When I was thinking about speaking to people about a secondary school experience, you guys just came to my mind, and I can see this now why it is. Oh, I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. You guys are really fun in secondary school thing. Well, this is it. Everything I see on the surface is trauma. Oh God, I beg. Anyway, so glad for that. Thank you for sharing that and for that humorous part that you started with. Thank God you even woke up. Not woke up the next morning. Thank God you woke up that night. If not,
They would have met me in school the next day on day wear, and they'll be on school uniform.
is one thing. But what is funny though is why is it hotel now? Long because you came here. Anyway, we'll get into that subsequently. But so welcome, Adana. Let's welcome Adana. Adana, welcome to the building.
Madam, welcome. Mommy, I must greet you. Welcome, ma. Welcome.
Our boss.
Welcome, madam.
Problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Let's not be like we left you behind. So you're going to introduce yourself. I think you don't know, but introduce yourself, your name, what you do. You know, among the things you're doing currently, you are blind. So just let us in. Right?
Okay, I'm Anya Ofego Adana. What do I do? What am I doing in my life at this point? I'm serving right now. I also with on NYSC, and I'm also doing part-time job with Tuesday Online. It's a media firm, it's a media organization. And so I think basically major is that two things that keeping me occupied at the moment. Service and then that part-time job. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me or
Okay. Can you hear me clearly?
yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. We got that. Welcome once again. So we were talking about those experiences in school and out of us, and then kind of formed our values and morals and whatnot as adults. So I wanted to share maybe a particular experience that positively or negatively, and how it impacts people and how it's helping in this adult life. So just share with us one or two, any number.
What is an experience? Every time I think of what life was like for us or for me while I was there, I don't know. It's I feel more of gratitude. No, I'm always very grateful that I got to experience God for what it is. Not everybody gets to attend a school like that. Not everybody gets to find a school like that. Logis helped shape me in so many ways. I remember my first day in university, my first semester exam. I remember after one of our papers, I would go back to my room. And the next thing I started hearing people saying, so person is angry with you. So person is angry with you. What happened? Some people are trying to call me in the exam hall. They're trying to signal me to speak, to talk to them now.
professor, my classmates, what's the answer to this one? And I was confused. Why are you talking in the exam hall? I don't understand what's going on here. I was so shocked that the people and my colleagues, they were so upset that they tried to call me in the exam hall and I wasn't answering anybody this and that. And then, it took me a long while to realize that the reason why I was shocked that people could, try to whisper or try to beckon on anybody in the exam hall was because how logic system works for us. If you don't read, you fail. You have to prepare for exams on your own because you know that you're going in there on your own and you're going to spend the exam period on your own. You'll come out on your own. So it shaped me. It made me a reader. It made me sit up for exams. Even after I left, after I graduated, I got to university and examination malpractice was still a problem for me. I couldn't complete it. Even by the time I got to final year, talking in the exam was still a problem. I still found it very strange. I would give that to my experience in logic. Logic was what taught me discipline in exam hall. And it was logic that made me read. It was shocking to discover that people who have exams are not even prepared because they are already expected, and by the time they get to the exam hall, they can, bring out small papers that they will write on, that they will write from, or smuggle their phones in. But it was not like that for me because I spent 6 years already writing exams by myself. I think that was one thing that's one experience that took away from life that really shaped me. You asked for one thing or one or two things that I will never forget. One memory. I don't know.
Yeah.
For the girls, I don't know if anyone can remember the period when I left school. That was our second break or second break. SS3. We're not allowed to go home. No, it was first term break. It was our last term break at Logic SS3. My parents were traveling to Lagos for my other brother's convocation at Covenant University. And initially we would send me term breaks in Abuja. So my dad was saying nobody will not be able to come home, this and that. I was so angry, I was so annoyed, and I had cousins in the West. Please go to where I spend time with my cousins. My parents said, please said that you're not going anywhere, spend the holiday in term break in school. And somehow I managed to beat the security, and I went home with Ozinkwe Uchechi. I don't know what was in my head. I don't know how I felt like I was going to do that without being caught. But I did. And, the midterm break ended, we came back to school. I had to face this night committee for it. On top of it, they caught Uchechi trying to smuggle a couple of things. And I was a prefect. So they were asking me, how is it that you're a prefect and then you couldn't report to us? Your friend was trying to do this and that. How am I going to think of my friend? I kept denying it. But I was not aware. But you spent the midterm break in her house. How didn't you see her passing? We slept in different rooms. I was not aware. I kept denying it and playing around it. But at the end of the day, they took my badge and asked me to step down from my post. But it was so strange that they did not announce it immediately. So, normally in our lodges and public embarrassment, you commit a crime, you have to take the next thing, they would call it on assembly ground, this and that. But it didn't happen. Second week. And funny enough, I think we're just those in SS3 that about it. So, a week went by, nobody knew. It was just us in our set. People in SS2, SFN and junior students didn't find out. I don't think they did, but no one was really talking about it. I don't think I have ever prayed as much as I did that period. I don't think till now. That was one miracle I kept holding on to God for. I kept begging God. I said I needed my post back. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I wanted that position back. I kept praying. That was charismatic hour. I can never forget the parish 5. I knelt down. I don't think anybody understood what God did, but I knelt down that day. I cried. I cried my eyes out. I said, God, I do not want this embarrassment. I want my food back. The following week, on a Monday, I got admitted in the clinic. That was on Monday. On Wednesday morning, the matron came to look for me in the clinic, and then she said, Vice Principal Sir F.C. Okoro was looking for me. I followed her, I got to his office, and then he was talking about how Matron called him by 2 a.m. in the morning. I was saying that he had a revelation, and that God was telling her that she gave me back my badge, and that, and then she had to call him in the middle of the night and said, Wednesday morning to call me back and give me back my badge. I broke down and said, God. That was the first major miracle God was ever doing for me. The very first one. They gave me back my badge. I don't know if people remember, but in our set, they didn't maybe we were in our post as prefects. We were not inaugurated immediately. We were inaugurated, I think, almost towards the end of our tenure. We ended up, and we were given our inauguration was like third term. It was the first time we were having of delay in school for first inauguration. But my badge was handed over to me on Wednesday morning. On Friday morning, General Assembly, Mr. Precious, principal of the school, made a random visit to girls' school that morning and decided that they were going to do the inauguration that day. If Saukuro had not given my badge on Wednesday, it was on Friday the entire school would have found out that they had relieved me of my school. And when they had already even taken my name out of the list. So I remember when Mr. Precious was calling the names and he got assistant labor prefect, there was no name there. But Mr. Kwe had to rush to him to tell him that, okay, it's so person that there was a mistake somewhere, and tried to explain one kind grammar to him, and then he called. He said, that was, we pray. Most of us come from Bible believing homes and very then homes, but we'll pray. That was the first time I knew that God really answers. If you cry to Him, in truth and in spirit, if you really believe and have faith, believe something will happen for you. It would actually happen. Towards the end of the term, and it was on that scenario and that case altogether that time will not permit me to share, but that was the major miracle that I believed God for. It was that incident that taught me to pray. It was that incident that taught me to believe God. If I want something, all I have to do is ask with faith, and it will definitely come. So yeah, that was my that's the, I don't know, this is the most memorable thing or event that I remember. Is one thing I share this story to almost everybody because I don't think nobody was in my heart, so nobody will know how bad I prayed and how I had to fast and beg God for days, for nights, because I wanted that one thing back. And he answered in the weirdest way. Imagine me calling Saukuro by 2 a.m. in the morning to say, who am I? I was just one small girl in SS to them. Saying, give this day. It was a specific instruction. I said, no. That incident, that's the most memorable thing that happened to me in logistics. Yes, I think it was. For the bad side, I don't think I have any major bad. I don't think I have any. I had a couple of downtimes, but I was good generally. Just as one SS3, I was good. I was very good. I had very wonderful experiences.
Interesting. You guys had life changing events and not in wow, that's so nice, yeah, so profound. Thank you very much for sharing. Whoa. So, Adana, from your what you know now about how God answers prayer, for me, it's very interesting that we can have those silly moments. If someone else hears that, they'll be like, "What's this? Leave your post." It's nothing. But then, for you to even be very serious and speak to God, even consider it and all that. That was so profound. I think one thing I struggled in bed was actually having faith. A lot of things are going on, and I was just place where I said, I know that God can do it too, but whether He will do it actually, I don't know, I'm not sure, because there are a couple of things I struggled with. I struggled with my friends allowing me to be in the art class. They wanted me to do science because they say all the science but you have all that. And so those things kind of kept me traumatized, especially for most part of my senior secondary period. But it's interesting that you actually had that encounter and it has been life changing for you. Congratulations, my dear. Congratulations. So moving on to other things. So basically, from all that you guys have said, you mentioned about inferiority complex. I think that was something I struggled with in logic because of the way my parents trained me. We stayed inside most of the time. And so now going to logic where you are caged within walls, you are not let out. You are not supposed to talk to boys. There are 20 things that you are not supposed to do. It actually affected my self-esteem and even inferiority. But when I got to the university, it took one full section. Like I mean, I'm from my classmates knew that I existed in class. That was so wow, that was so bad. Like, but before I became social, I thank God even less. It affected him being social, especially with women, girls, relating with friends, don't even know how to communicate and all that, and it was just so bad, right, for me. So I'm going to be asked, Ella, did you have any period or any memory where you actually suffered from inferiority complex, or even if it's not inferiority complex, superiority complex, or just whatever, any kind of self-esteem issues, whether in logic or as you left logic and stay relating with, as they used to call it in logic, the outside world? So did you have any of those episodes? Do you have any of those moments?
Yeah, I won't lie, I did. I did have those moments of, inferiority. And one of them was, I think one of the main reasons was because, Logis was a very competitive place, very, very, very competitive. So I had those times where, you just feel a little bit less of yourself. But I think it became worse when I left Logis. Because in Logis, in as much as I had those times, I feel like Logis was such a wild place, like a very wide place. You could meet people like you, people better than you, and even people like, who are, if I should use the word, below you. So there was a place for everybody, right? If you were better than me, I don't even remember envying anybody. I feel like if you were better than me, fine. And if I wanted to get into your space, and it wasn't working, man, I'll just keep it moving. Do you understand? So in Logis, I feel like, I don't know if I feel everybody had that moment where you feel less of yourself at one point or the other, but it was not as intense as when I left Logis. You feel me? It was not as intense as when I left Logis. It became worse when I left Logis, because then it was like this mindset in your head to always perform, and then you're looking at what other people are doing. Logis always had this thing about comparison and competitiveness, and all of those things. So like when I left, that's when I began to realize that, damn, like these esteem issues, they are real. I struggle with them from time to time, Well, yeah. Yeah, that is just it. I feel like my answer is yes at some point. Yes. Are you there?
Wow, that's interesting because to me, when we're in logic, you didn't seem like someone that struggled from self-esteem issues. I mean, you are this kind of girl that
Everywhere.
always my I was just that kind of girl that if I see her, like, God, I wish I can be like this girl.
Exactly. That's what I was telling you initially. That everybody, have. I feel like logic traumatized us, but it's just that we wear it or we handle it differently, right? We handle it different. In fact, do you know that it was after I left logic that I was hearing that some people in our sets were saying things like, I was trying to feel among. I was like, I don't get. I was just my own person. I was just doing my own thing. I had like my own people, I was just there. So like when people said she was trying to feel among, I was like, okay, this is funny. But yeah, I had those times when you'd want to be better, you want to be a certain type of person. Logic did not really encourage accepting yourself. There was always a standard, and then it's like they had to make you reach that standard. You were not really celebrated for being you, for having your personality. You had to be a type of way before the teachers accept you, or before even the students, the student community, before it's like they accept you, you had to be up to, a certain standard. So yeah, I struggled with that, but it was really not that intense for me.
That's nice. It's nice to know that each of us had those struggles. So not like I feel like since all of us can relate, that's good. So I want to actually know, how did you overcome it? Or are you still struggling, or have you improved? And how you over time? What are the steps you took, or what are the steps you are taking to survive?
Okay, so in school, like back in school, like I said, I just realized that first, you cannot, first of all, you can't get into like so many people's spaces or so many people's good books. Okay, I think it was even in my SS2 that I was like, you know what? I don't even care anymore. I think it was in SS2 I started feeling, I think SS2, first term of SS3, second term. I started late, but then I got to that point. I think I got to that point where I began to realize that I am my own person, and I'm my own person, I never have to be like this other person or this other person. They are who they are, fine. All right. I got to appreciate the people in my circle. I got to appreciate my friends. I got to stop. I just knew that this is my place, and even if you want to get better, fine. There's always room for improvement, but this is where you are. This is where you belong to, if I should say like that. And then when I left school, I like when I knew that I started having those issues of self-esteem, that is when I now began to learn self-love more, self-acceptance more, self-awareness, your strengths, your weaknesses. I think that is, right now, I wouldn't really say I am there, but then I like to say I'm a work in progress, I think that's just the best way to define myself or to describe myself now when it comes to self-esteem. I'm a work in progress, because truth is, there's always going to be that one thing that will make you feel like, damn, I have some work to do. There's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody prettier. There's always going to be somebody who has it going cooler, all of that. But one thing I know that kills low self-esteem faster than any other thing is self-love. For me, it's just accepting yourself, loving yourself, being honest with yourself, honest enough to know that this is where I need to improve. This is where I need to improve. And people are just out here, will I say, being delusional. this is something you need to improve on that is causing you issues, and you're just turning a blind eye to it. Like, why? So these are the things that help me. This is just how I overcame it, or I'm working on it.
Well, interesting because me up to I think final year of studying law, I was still struggling. Like I still had the tag on me, self-esteem issues. I still had that tag. Not until like most just very recent, I started accepting myself for who I am. Like you don't have it all, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's alright. And it's funny that each of us had different ways on how we handled the trauma we actually faced in life and all the things that impacted our self-esteem in logic. And I'm surprised that you even stay handling your own from logic. A lot of people, I feel like they wanted to handle it well, but they now became even worse than when they had inferiority complex. Like, say for example, somebody like feeling inferior will now start erecting the superiority complex just to say he or she is better than people, or I don't know, the person has figured it all out, or trying to live a fake life, just all those kind of things. And well, he did good. So thank God. You say that you still have issues, or you still have problems with how you relate to the female folks based on how this self-esteem stuff again affected you, or even I heard something like social anxiety, something like that. That when you come out, you don't know how to communicate with people. How do I fix it? So, how are you dealing with it as of now? Even appreciating art and doing your stuff. How are you doing it?
Okay, well, I think my issue with being social is kind of different from my issue with self-esteem. Back then, to be social, to connect with my environment, when I come to a place to connect with people there, that's one of the things I find difficult to do with ease. I can really suspect, I'm seriously suspecting that the standards and the kind of rules and the way they placed us in the secondary school then contributed to it. Yes. But then when it comes to self-esteem,
did you hear my question? Like, how are you doing? Relating with society, something like that.
Okay, I get your question. Yeah, how I'm doing with relating with people. I think just like if you want to deal with loving dodo, you have to eat dodo. Just start eating it. So the way I deal with it basically is to relate with people, to find a way to connect with people. So when I come to a place, I've come to realize that it is good to be the first person to reach out. So first of all, back then when I was in the campus, I think one of the things I did was to join the ushering forum. Ushering forum is a forum that must force you to relate with people, to serve, to be humble, to welcome people, to relate with people. And then I had to also join the follow-up forum. Follow-up forum being a forum also that helps you to connect with people when they don't come to go and ask them. Well, I can't hear you. What did you say last?
You actually had the nerve to join all those. Oh my God.
Yes. I think that these are the conscious steps I took to improve myself a bit, and I think they helped. Joining this kind of, so that the people that are there could, while relating with those that are working in that space, they could impact their spirit in me, and then I can also use it for the church sake, for the sake of the kingdom, and also for my personal life. So that's what I did.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. So that's interesting. You actually to join ushering department and follow up, bro. That was some nerve. Well, that's good. actually interesting how everybody decided to do their own. So, Adanaya, anytime I think about you, sometimes I remember some memories I had with you in secondary school, right? In I think SS2, I believe I think you know exactly. I can't remember exactly. Probably SS2 or SS2. But I think it's SS2 because that time they were threatening us with a lot of expulsion. I think a lot of things were going on as at that time. Okay. A lot of things are going on at that time. And most times, like, I can still remember the times in trouble like this. How was that handling all this? Everybody was Adanaya. I think that was an issue. Boys and also hostel mistress. Can't even remember what exactly was the thing. But how did you do that? How did that impact you? I'm sure that you must have been very traumatized after those experiences. Like you guys are facing disciplinary committee back to back, right?
Yes. It was,
So how
it
did you survive?
it was tough. It was tough, if I'm being very honest. It was very tough. I went from being someone who wanted to, be well behaved and be seen as a very good child in front of the authorities. And what actually changed me, it was, I think of it sometimes, and it taught me one lesson that I will share. But let me tell you what changed me. After the end of second term SS3, when I got my badge back as a prefect, the day we were supposed to have our closing assembly, a day to our closing day, matron, I was supervising morning function in junior refectory. Matron came to call me. I'm not even taking my bath that morning. And then she told me the principal wanted to see me. I say, principal wants to see me for what now? I had not done anything wrong. So I just got to the hostel, clean my face, change my day wear immediately, try to smell fresh and apply roll-on, I dressed up, closed matron immediately to principal's office. I got there, and then I don't know how my case, he was angry that Saokoro gave me back my badge and everything. We were just talking about how they have to take it back and you still have to announce the case during closing assembly. I was so angry. He said a lot of things that day. When I left, I said, I thought this is a miracle God has already done for me. What's going on? That day I walked back to the hostel. I was so annoyed. And when I got to my phone, I just told God, I said, if this man announced this thing during general assembly, I'm not going to continue serving you. I will force here. Because after that thing happened, I started thinking it was very serious. It was a very big miracle God did for me. I was very serious with thought. Hey, I was doing everything good. I was trying to live my life very right that period. Then principal made that call that day. And I was so annoyed. And after I said that thing, the closing assembly happened. And he made the announcement. I came out, he said everything on that day. Talked about how I'll have 2 weeks internal suspension when it come protected. Talk. And that was it. That was a turning point in my life. I was so annoyed with God that period. Most people must have thought that I was being carried away by peer influence and everything. Meanwhile, I was intentionally getting involved in every chaos because I was angry. I was very angry. I felt like I had worked so hard that period. Even Maker was trying to tell principal that she's one of our very hardworking prefect. Please don't take her out. I'm very talented. And I felt like I was betrayed. I was so angry. So I was intentional. I said, since they will not reward my good effort, at least they will see the bad one. So I was intentionally putting myself in every chaos, in every situation. It was very tough. It was very tough. So at some point, I don't know how I got into every trouble. Paranoia was ringing everywhere. I graduated that period, and what that thing taught me, I still feel like God needed me to believe at that time that if He could do it the first time, He could do it again, even at the dying minute. And I also learned that I'm not serving God. If I refuse to serve Him, there are so many other people who will. He's not the one who needs me. I'm the one who needs Him. That was one lesson I took out of it. So then, throughout the period where I was facing this different committee and going back and forth, being in one problem or the other, I still look back and I'm grateful for those experiences. It taught me, and Pastor Paul, I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
I once in a while came talk to him. He was the one who helped me navigate and understand myself that period. That was it helped me discover what God has put in me. And he was telling me that there are things that I would do that other people would do and not do it. But if I get involved, I'm going to blow. He was the one who started making me see potential in myself. Trying to tell me that I'm a star that should shine.
Wow.
I should not channel like that negative, like channel positive. It made me go into the university space and try to make a name for myself in positive aspects. Instead of being popular, like where I was in Lodge, being popular for the wrong reasons. I went to university with the intention of being popular for the right reasons. I told myself I was going to that thing in me, that thing that make people always want to have. I don't find anybody's mouth. I told myself that I was going to intentionally work towards in the right direction. Even when the devil tried to distract me, I want to make me see. I said, no. This light is going to shine positive and not negative. It was my parents were annoyed because at the point they started getting calls, but anytime I think of all those things, I do not regret any of them. I'm always very grateful for those experiences because they taught me a lot of positive things, even more than negative things. And sometimes if I still look back and think of all the things that Lord Jesus tries to magnify, you were talking with voice, you were doing this, and I compare it to the story people share from their own secondary schools. I'm like, I was even a good child though. Those are not just they're just extreme with their own rules. We are good. Not that they did anything bad. They're smuggling sweets. People are flying fences in other schools going for party and doing a lot of crazy things. But it was a chaotic time, but somehow I was strong enough to not bend. I didn't let it affected my results. I didn't make my work and I didn't make my next week because I didn't read. I wasn't reading. I wasn't preparing. I was just there. Just whiling away time in gang wars and clique wars and group wars, one useless thing or the other. So that was the price I had to pay. My results had to suffer. I had to pay that price for it. But yeah, I managed it. I scaled through at the end of the day. I didn't let it consume me. I didn't let it break me. I still tried to, keep my head high. But I still tried to sleep, and I didn't drown. So, yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. You even think that you remember me as a great. I don't know. You guys are not something else. You guys are really, I don't know the word to describe you guys. Like, you remember that you are grateful, more grateful than you are sad. That's a gift I want to convey. So I thank you so much for that. Thank you very much. So, VickyBillions, rumor has it that you are a billionaire and you make a lot of money that you share on the online space, share for your customers, share for everybody. So, my question for you, Mama Telecommunication, hope you can hear me. My question for you is really, first of all, I admire how that you kept building your brand. So you talked about you have to receive for GC, right? Why? And then your brand, even in that period. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Building your brand during that period, and even your failures could not stop you. Like, whoa, far. Mention that you also had self issues when you went to school the first time and you could not where people were. You have to look for a place to hide, and yet you feel you are taking up on. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. You're making a lot of billions. You're communicating with millions of people, right? Millions of people, and everything that happened during that time that you didn't even affect you. I'm not impact it had on building your brand, but you are, one sought after person. So, like, how did you do it? How did you get there, even with all of that? Tell us your magic.
Okay, no magic actually. Okay, so after I left Nordics, I had to wait for like 3 years before I went to school. And I'll just say those 3 years were like a defining moment for me, because honestly, if immediately I went to school, I think I might have done a lot of things wrong. Yeah, so those 3 years, even though at that time I wanted to die because it paid me, it paid me well, but I didn't know what was coming in the future, so I didn't understand it at that point. So I was bitter, very angry. It was a lot, but I'm really grateful now that I had to wait for those 3 years, honestly, because they were the defining moments for me in my life. So first of all, when I waited, I think it was at the last time at the third year that things were now breaking through for me. Like, I could understand why I was waiting. So that was in 2020. It was in 2020 I got admission to school. And that was like after I've waited. Actually, when I was in Lodges, I told myself that I wanted to school in India. I didn't know what I was doing. I told my dad actually that I'm not going to write jam. I did not write jam. And yeah, we both were reading together Marvel. So I think he wrote jam, but I didn't write because I was like, I didn't want to write jam. So I told my parents. So my dad said, okay, if I pass my wire, then it's fine. So the wire came and I did not pass. So I had to write again. And I failed one course, one subject like that. Then I told my parents that I was no more writing. So I went for training, just passing time and all of that. And then I even got scammed in the process because I wanted to go to China and we entered wrong hands, made wrong payments and everything. But like I said, that was a defining moment for me, because if I didn't even get scammed, I could have missed this opportunity of me schooling here in India when it came. Because that time I got scammed, everything was like so real. I had gotten my international passport, yellow fever card, everything. It was at the point where I needed my admission letter from the school that we started hearing stories and all of that, and realized that it was not legit. So I was very, very bitter that day, because the day we realized, or the day that this thing JAMB was closing registration, like a day before JAMB closed registration. So I could not even register for JAMB to say, okay, I should move ahead with my life. And that was a new year. I think 2019, that was a new year. So I couldn't even do anything. So I felt very bad. I was just like, so this is how I just waste the whole year and everything. So my mom now came up with this suggestion of I should write GCE. I thought that I'm not going to wear socks again. This was the exact word I thought. I thought I'm not going to wear socks and sandals to any school again, because I already made up my mind to merge two results, because I was tired of the whole thing. I was pained to see people going to school, this person convocation, and you're just in one house. You don't even know from your left to your right. Nothing is organized. Like I said, those 3 years were hellfire for me, but I'm grateful for them, honestly. So I told my mom that I'm not going to wear socks and sandals to anywhere. This was exactly that I'm not going to any school. So she reported me to church. She reported me to our human leader in the church that I refused to go to school or whatever they were even saying. So the woman now said, okay, if I'm not going to wear socks and sandals and all of that, that I can take GCE. So GCE, you wear your mufti and all of that. So I said, okay, that I will do GCE since I'm not doing anything for the year. So I accepted and I did the GCE, I passed. So I was like, okay, the next day I was going to write JAM. So it was 2020 that was my first time writing JAM because I had given up. I was like, let me just write because I was tired of the whole thing and time was going. So I wrote JAM, I passed JAM. So I was waiting for post-JAM before COVID wahala struck. So when COVID came, that was when my brother was the one that actually suggested to me I should start the car reselling because I was starting them now. I was not having money, I was not doing anything. So where they expected to get money from? And social media was my only company. So I was always asking them, buy me data, this and that. So my brother was not like that. What if I start selling? The first question I asked him was, who will buy? And he told me, people will buy. I said, are you sure of this thing? He told me yes. I said, okay, then I'm going to give it a try. So I just did it blindly. I started blindly. I did not know what I was going into. So I started, and along the line, as I started, I got my admission here in India. I got my admission, I think, around October, some days before my birthday, I think 20th or 23rd of October in 2020. I was screaming. I was very happy. And this admission was within a very short time. It was actually a scholarship. So the admission came and it was like, do you have your passport? Do you have your WAEC results? Did you pass your physics, chemistry? Because I'm doing engineering. So they needed more like the chemistry, physics and all of that. Then I should apply that. There were limited slots available. And before 1 hour, I got admission. So if I didn't have these other things before then, that means I could have missed out on my admission. So like I said, it was like preparing me for this breakthrough, this moment, something like that. So I was very happy, and immediately I got admission, I just deleted everything about post-UTME. So even though I registered for post-UTME, I did not get to write post-UTME because I had already gotten admission. So I just abandoned everything about my Nigeria university. So and started doing my business. So when I started doing my business, I didn't know what I was doing because for 1 year when I started, I was trying to learn. I was like, how will I make sales? How will I get to talk to people? Because still I was timid because of logics and all these things. So I didn't know how to approach people. I wasn't proud of what I do. I was ashamed. How people see me, I'm selling data and all of that. I wasn't bold enough. So I just took few courses. I attended courses and all of that. So it was those courses that were like a breaking point for me because they helped me. I realized my value. I realized that I could be more. I realized that I could do so much even with this business because in my head I was looking at something very small, but later on I realized that I can do a lot.
Wow. Nice. Well, I've really gathered a lot from all that you guys have shared so far, and it's kind of making me to reflect back on exactly how logics actually impacted my life, and I'm just seeing it from a lens of gratitude because you guys have been like, I'm grateful, and so I haven't really sat down to like think about secondary school and be grateful for anything because I felt like almost everything that happened to me in secondary school was trauma, right? And yeah, so yes, thank you guys for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability and transparency and giving us the gift of all of that. I'm very much grateful, and I've learned a lot that it's very important, it's very necessary to sit back and reflect on these things, go through all of them. So particularly for me, I have to go sit back now and try to like go back to what happened in Lodges and why do I feel like everything that happened was trauma. I'm sure that religion and all of that stuff kind of had an impact on me because because of how quote unquote religious extreme, I don't know, just some extreme rules and traditions that were in place, and then the blend of that with hypocrisy and exaggeration from most of the staff, and the lifestyle they lived, right? It felt like it was double, and the kind of pride they had, the quickness to be judgmental or critical about people, or all this kind of stuff, and just a lot of nuances to how they practice religion, the Christian religion in Lodges kind of made me and then the number of times we had to go to church. I feel like when I left I was tired of I was so tired of going to church. So yeah, those things I feel like they impacted the way I began to look at people that dress conservatively. So impacted the way I began to see people because of how the Lodges staff behaved. So I felt like they lived double standard life and all of that. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that I'm so grateful for this conversation and getting to know you guys' perspective on all that has happened. And so it has actually made me to realize that I still need to sit back down and go through all of the memories, right? Exactly what is and what is not. Yeah, so grateful to have you guys on board, and thank you guys for sharing your experiences once again. Thank you so much, Ella. Thank you so much, Adanaya. Thank you, Charles. Thank God. Thank you, VickyBillions. I learned a lot from all you guys have shared, and I hope that the Young and Sane fam also try to get one or two things that have been shared on here and sit back with it and kind of go back to your secondary school and say, question yourself, question that belief you picked up from there and exactly why. Try to go back to the experience or the memory you had that made you believe such. Yeah, so that's all I have to say for now. And also the thing that Adana shared about God and answering prayers, that was very profound, right? And yeah, I'm so grateful. Yeah, thank you guys. I'll keep mentioning it once again and again and again and again. So yeah, so we've come to the end of today's episode of the Young and Sane Podcast. Please ensure you drop a comment on what stood out for you and so far everything. I'd love to get to know, and then if you have any specific questions or just whatever, you can drop a comment below. And please don't forget to follow this podcast. Don't forget to share it. If you're listening on Google Podcasts or Spotify or even Anchor, don't forget to share. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to this podcast so that you can get notified when we upload a new episode every Monday morning. Yeah, so thank you guys for sticking around with me till now. I don't take it for granted. See you next week. Bye bye.